Hello everybody, welcome back to the League of 72. Now we've done a few deep dives on this channel, make sure you go check them out and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out when your team gets picked. But Bristol City fans, it's about time we dug into you guys. 3-5-2 you're playing, and there's a lot of fun, tactical nuances that are making Bristol City one of the most exciting teams going forward at this moment in time. After 10 matches of this season, 19 goals. That's more than any championship team so far. So in this video, we're going to dive into what makes Bristol City one of the most exciting teams in the EFL. As ever, let's make our way through, and let's start off with playing out from the back, because it's best to start with defence, because Daniel Bentley and the way that he is playing out from the back is really interesting this season. So take a look at this clip, this first clip. This clip nicely demonstrates Bristol City's willingness to utilise their goalkeeper in possession, whilst also giving a nice insight into how the centre-backs split into wide positions to make receiving the ball easier and opening up new angles for ball progression. I think importantly here, there's a lot of patience. If it's not on, then you go back, because if you're able to suck in some of their players, then you can create gaps further up the pitch for the team, and it's that starting point that gives them a real chance. Clip 2. This second clip is very similar. It's in a similar theme, in which Zach Viner scans the pitch before opening up his body to receive the ball from Bentley. A subtle yet effective aspect to note here is that Bentley still makes himself available for the pass after giving it to Viner, and already knows where his next pass will be, which makes it so much easier to bypass any Blackburn pressing and shows how important Daniel Bentley is to this team in terms of with the ball. So despite it being a back three on paper, in possession it's really not, because that sort of central centre-back is actually sort of Daniel Bentley but nice and deep. So you have Cal Naismith and Zach Viner as those split centre-backs. You then have Rob Atkinson, who plays almost in a left-back role for the team, and that allows Jay Da Silva to be really high up the pitch and essentially playing as a winger. In the next clip, you'll see that Mark Sykes, who's on the other side, does a very similar thing, and this allows Bristol City to play through the thirds aggressively and also allows rotation through those central midfielders as well. The role of Matty James is also very important in this side, as he often offers another option for distribution of the ball out from the back. We see here how important he is, not only in receiving the ball, being brave in the build-up, but also in moving the ball through the thirds from different areas. Matty James will often either take up the space just ahead of the centre-backs or on the right-hand side. We've actually seen this with Burnley in our deep dive there as well, so make sure you go check that out. So when looking to receive the ball, it also allows Mark Sykes, as we said, to remain in an advanced role, as we have just seen in the previous clip. The speed at which Bristol City are playing the ball through the thirds is also really impressive, from goalkeeper to attack, and it can often sting the opposition with the pace of which they move. Alex Scott's role, we have to talk about that number 7 for Bristol City, who, although being 19 years old, already has 41 appearances for the Robins, and he's just so important in that midfield. He was, of course, over on that right-hand side at times. He's now playing that central midfield role, and his confidence, his bravery, and his ability to pick up the ball close up to other players within their team and then allow the ball to be moved forward is really impressive. And his overall pass selection so wise beyond his years. In this clip, we get a short and sweet insight into one of the many facets of Alex Scott's game: receiving the ball and driving just a few yards and moving it on. That sharpness to turn and nimble ability to execute is a big part of his game, and it's one that other defenders coming up against him will give him that time and space, because they'll be careful and cautious, because they'll be worried that he's going to take them out of the game with that nimble footwork. Clip 5, however, is where he truly shines. Check this out. So making quick decisions with the ball and executing them accurately, being able to make that smart pass to Jay Da Silva, just seeing the eyes, seeing that movement quickly and then playing it. His vision for a pass demonstrates his natural talent and is one of the biggest weapons Bristol City have when it comes to chance creation. This next clip is probably my favourite clip, I've got to be honest, when it comes to him, because it just demonstrates the quality he's got and the awareness. He has this little look over his shoulder. He always wants the ball, but he has this little look over his shoulder just before he gets it, and it's hard to see this pass on, even from this bird's eye view that we've got here. However, Scott sees it. He sees it quickly, takes one touch and executes the perfect pass with the perfect weight. So satisfying to watch. Alex Scott already plays for England youth sides, and he actually plays out wide for them, which just again highlights how complete a player this guy is. He's someone who I think has a real future and could well be an England senior international. So one that if you're a fan of Bristol City or an opponent's fan, you need to keep an eye on this guy because he will soon be making his way through the leagues. So with Alex Scott and Matty James as this sort of perfect double pivot for the team, very formidable, it gives them this balance and it allows them to have their forward players higher up the pitch making runs. They've even got wing-backs, of course, making those runs as well, which makes it a lot for the opposition to deal with, and it gives them that confidence to make those movements and move the ball from one box to the other box super quickly. Bristol City don't play with a target man. They play with two mobile forwards in Tommy Conway and Narky Wells, and then, of course, the talismanic Vyman, who plays in that number 10 role just in behind them. The movement of this trio is really smart stuff, especially when you've got Matt James and Alex Scott, because they are players that are willing to run the channels and thus willing to sort of come out wide. And what that means is that they've got great passers who can find them, but it makes it hard for the opposition to man mark and to track them because it pulls them out of position. Before looking into any footage, let's just give Tommy Conway his moment to shine in the sun, because the guy's done brilliantly. 20 years old, hadn't played that much for the Robins prior to this season. In 8 games so far, first of all, he's got a conversion rate of 29%, but he's got himself 5 goals and 2 assists in those 8 games. So let's talk about this front three and how they are exploiting space so brilliantly. It sums up what Bristol City are great, this clip, because you've got Alex Scott doing what he does, moving the ball progressively, finds a brilliant progressive pass to unleash Vyman, who's on his way. He then finds clinical Conway, who nods home. The speed at which this ball goes from virtually their own box into the opposition's net is very impressive, and one of the key themes that we're talking about here. In this clip, again, Alex Scott, of course, is involved, but actually the dummy run from Conway is great. Number 15 here, just watch him make that run, pulls out that central centre-back and allows Narky Wells that little bit of space that then allows him to dummy him and do his business. It's great stuff, and it's just fantastic movement, smart movement, and that starting point of getting the ball to Vyman quickly, someone who's a dribbler but also has that quality, just makes a huge difference. And then more of the same here when it comes to that movement, because you've got Hannoa Masengo, who finds the ball in behind to Vyman because he just spins his player there. Great driving run, so much space to exploit, and then bodies in the box in terms of Wells and Conway. Wells there for the pullback if he needed him, but Conway there ready to pounce. Great ability from Vyman, puts it on a plate, and Conway delivers. So in summary, Bristol City have had a sort of bundle of goal-scoring joy this season. I do have some questions, though, for the comments, guys, so make sure you get involved. I'd love to hear what you have to say about Bristol City. I think they're one of the most exciting teams to watch in the EFL, but after back-to-back defeats, close defeats to Burnley and Norwich recently, what is the ceiling for this Bristol City side? They've come a long way from last season in terms of that attacking verve that they have this season, but are there still question marks at the back? If they're going to be open and play through the thirds this aggressively, is it going to be difficult in terms of being counter-attacked at times? What is the ceiling for this Bristol City side, and how far can they go this year? Will they be going up? Bristol City fans, let me know how you're feeling as well. If you enjoy this one, make sure you share it, make sure you like it, and make sure you subscribe to the League of 72.